ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 24, chanting of the song sung by Lord Shiva, that is Rudra Gita. We are in the second section of this chapter, text 16 to 32, where Prachetas are going to meet Lord Shiva on their way to austerity. Text 16. प्रचेतसां गिरित्रेण यथा स्यादपि सङ्गमम् यदुताह हरप्रीतिस्तन्नो ब्रह्मन् वदार्थवत्. Translation.
Vidura asked Maitreya, "My dear Brahmana, why did the Prachitas meet Lord Shiva on the way? Please tell me how the meeting happened, how Lord Shiva became very pleased with them, and how he instructed them. Certainly, such talks are important, and I wish that you please be merciful upon me and describe them." Purport: Whenever there are some important talks between a devotee and the Lord or between exalted devotees, one should be very much curious to hear them. At the meeting of Naimisharanya, where Suta Goswami spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to all the great sages, Suta Goswami was also asked about the talks between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukdeva Goswami. For the sages believed that the talks between Sukdeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit must have been as important as the talks between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. As everyone is still eager to learn the subject of Bhagavad Gita in order to become perfectly enlightened, Vidura was similarly eager to learn from the great sage Maitreya about the talks between Lord Shiva and the Prachitas. Hare Krishna.
So Vidura, in this section, he's asking question, what did Lord Shiva, being very pleased with them, speak to Prachetas when they meet? Please tell me about this meeting. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes that the talks between the devotees are as important as talk between the Lord and his devotee, Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, and similarly, the discussion between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj is also very, very important, and one must be very eager to hear about these wonderful talks, right? So we have to have that spiritual eagerness to know what these talks are. Text 17. Sangam khalu viprayashe shivena iha sharirinam durlabho munayo dadyuhu asangat yamabhipsitam. Translation.
Translation. The great sage Vidura continued, O best of the Brahmanas, it is very difficult for living entities engaged within this material body to have personal contact with Lord Shiva. Even great sages who have no material attachments do not contact him, despite their always being absorbed in meditation to attain his personal contact. Purport. Since Lord Shiva does not incarnate himself unless there is some special reason, it is very difficult for an ordinary person to contact him. However, Lord Shiva does descend on a special occasion when he is ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this regard, it is stated in the Padma Purana that Lord Shiva appeared as a Brahmana in the age of Kali to preach the Mayavad philosophy, which is nothing but a type of Buddhist philosophy. It is stated in Padma Purana, Mayavadam Asat Shastram Pracharanam Bauddham Uchyate Mayavi Vihitam Devi Kalo Brahmana Murtina. Lord Shiva, speaking to Parvati Devi, foretold that he would spread the Mayavad philosophy in the guise of a sannyasi Brahmana just to eradicate Buddhist philosophy. This sannyasi was Sripad Shankaracharya. In order to overcome the effects of Buddhist philosophy and spread Vedanta philosophy, Sripad Shankaracharya had to make some compromise with the Buddhist philosophy, and as such, he preached the philosophy of monism, for it was required at that time. Otherwise, there was no need for his preaching Mayavad philosophy. At the present moment, there is no need for Mayavad philosophy or Buddhist philosophy, and Lord Chaitanya rejected both of them. This Krishna consciousness movement is spreading the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya and rejecting the philosophy of both the classes of Mayavad. Strictly speaking, both Buddhist philosophy and Shankara's philosophy are but different types of Mayavad dealing on the platform of material existence. Neither of these philosophies has spiritual significance. There is spiritual significance only after one accepts the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, which culminates in surrendering unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally, people worship Lord Shiva for some material benefit, and although they cannot see him personally, they derive great material profit by worshipping him. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So here it is. Great sage Vidura continued. Okay. Generally, we say great sage Maitreya continued. But here Prabhupada writes, great sage Vidura continued. It is very difficult to have darshan of Lord Shiva who moves only with a purpose. Even the great sages who have no material attachment, it's very difficult for them to have darshan of Lord Shiva. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Lord Shiva does not incarnate himself unless there is some specific special reason. There is a special reason for appearance, and Kali Yuga Lord Shiva comes. He comes to spread this Mayavad philosophy. So this is being explained in Padma Purana. Mayavadam asat shastram prachannam bauddham uchyate. Right? Mayeva vihitan devi kalo brahmana murtina. Devi, O Devi Parvati, in the Kali Yuga, kalo brahmana murtina, in the form of a sannyasi brahmana, I will spread the Mayavad philosophy, which is prachannam bauddham uchyate, which is covered atheism. Srila Prabhupada explains that you don't say the parrot is dead directly. You say if parrot is not moving the hand, moving the wings, parrot is not moving legs, parrot has, not speaking anything, eyes are wide open, does not. So, and the king said that just say parrot is dead. And the minister said, no, no, king, how can we say? Because you said that anybody who says parrot is dead, you will kill such a person instantly. So instead of saying there is no God, atheistic, God is dead, they describe, oh, God has no hands, God has no legs, God has no eyes, God has no Visheshta. But we don't say God is dead. Right? So this is Prachannam Bauddham Uchyate. Bauddha philosophy directly says there is no God. Mayavad philosophy says there is no Visheshata in God, and it is as good as saying Prachannam Bauddham, there is no God. There was a specific need at that time when Lord Shiva appeared as a sannyasi, and this sannyasi, Prabhupada writes, this sannyasi is Sripad Shankaracharya. And there was a desperate need. It was a Apad avatar, the sudden incarnation to, to stop the killing of the animals. Both the incarnation came. He rejected Vedas. To re-establish the Vedas, Shankaracharya appeared. And he gave this philosophy, very flowery philosophy of the Veda, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, so on and so forth. But at the current moment, Prabhupada says, there is neither need of Mayavad philosophy or Buddhist philosophy. Right? Lord Chaitanya rejected both of them. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini. So, what is the need of the hour is the philosophy, which is the Tattva, that is Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. Further, Srila Prabhupada describes a little bit more about Mayavad and how generally people worship Lord Shiva for some material benefit. Although they cannot see him personally, they derive great material benefit by worshipping Lord Shiva. Right? So, But Lord Shiva is worshipped for material benefit, and there is a very special discussion. But what happens is that people are not purified. They only attain their desired result. But when we worship Lord Shiva as a Vaishnava, we will get purified. That is the difference between the Vaishnava Seva and the demigod worship. Although the personality is same, Lord Shiva. Now, who is Lord Shiva? Beautiful description here. Atmaramopi tasva lokakalpasya radhase shaktya yukto vicharati goraya bhagavan bhavah. Translation.
Lord Shiva, the most powerful demigod, second only to Lord Vishnu, is self-sufficient. Although he has nothing to aspire for in the material world, for the benefit of those in the material world, he is always busily engaged everywhere, and is accompanied by his dangerous energies like the goddess Kali and the goddess Durga. Purport: Lord Shiva is known as the greatest devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is known as the best of all types of Vaishnavas, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Consequently, Lord Shiva has a Vaishnava Sampradaya, the disciplic succession known as Rudra Sampradaya. Just as there is a Brahma Sampradaya coming directly from Lord Brahma, the Rudra Sampradaya comes directly from Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is one of the 12 great personalities as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.20. Swayambhur Narada Shambhu, Kumara Kapilo Manuhu, Prahlado Janaka Bhishmo, Balir Sakir Vayam. These are 12 great authorities in preaching God consciousness. The name Shambhu means Lord Shiva. His disciplic succession is also known as Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, and the current Vishnu Swami Sampradaya is also known as Vallabha Sampradaya. The current Brahma Sampradaya is known as Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Even though Lord Shiva appeared to preach Mayavad philosophy at the end of his pastimes in the form of Shankaracharya, he preached the Vaishnava philosophy. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Mudhamate. He stressed worshipping Lord Krishna or Govinda 3 times in this verse, and especially warned his followers that they could not possibly achieve deliverance or mukti simply by word jugglery and grammatical puzzles. If one is actually serious to attain mukti, he must worship Lord Shiva. That is Sripada Shankaracharya's last instruction. Herein it is mentioned that Lord Shiva is always accompanied by his material energy, Shaktya Goraya, Shakta Goraya. Material energy, goddess Durga or goddess Kali, is always under his control. Goddess Kali and Durga serve him by killing all the asuras or demons. Sometimes Kali becomes so infuriated that she indiscriminately kills all kinds of asuras. There is a proper picture of goddess Kali in which she wears a garland composed of the heads of the asuras and holds in her left hand a captured head, and in her right hand a great khadga or chopper for killing asuras. Great wars are symbolic representations of Kali's devastation of the asuras and are actually conducted by the goddess Kali. Shrishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha, Brahma Samhita 5.44. Asuras try to pacify goddess Kali or Durga by worshipping her in material opulence, but when the asuras become too intolerable, the goddess Kali does not discriminate in killing them wholesale. Asuras do not know the secret of energy of Lord Shiva, and they prefer to worship the goddess Kali or Durga or Lord Shiva for material benefit. Due to their demonic character, they are reluctant to surrender to Lord Krishna, as indicated by Bhagavad Gita 7.15. Namam dushkrutino mudhas prapadyante naradhamaha mayaya parutadnyana asuram bhavamashritam.
It's a long purport. We'll read in 2 sections. Atmaramopi. So Lord Shiva is fully self-satisfied. Yastasta lokakalpasya radhase. Always engaged in well-being of the material world. Radhase. So to help the material world. Shaktya yukto vicharati ghoraya bhagavan bhava. Bhagavan bhava, that the most powerful Lord Shiva, moves around with Ghora Shakti, Prabhupada writes, like goddess Kali and goddess Durga. Lord Shiva is the most powerful demigod. He is Atmaram, self-sufficient. has nothing to aspire for in the material world. And for the benefit of the material world, Radhase is busily engaged everywhere, along with the dangerous energies Kali and Durga. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes that Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee, Vaishnavanam Yathashamita. So, and being a devotee, he also has his own sampradaya, right? And that sampradaya is a Vaishnava sampradaya. The name of that sampradaya is Rudra Sampradaya. So sometimes people may confuse Rudra Sampradaya means are they preaching about divinity of no, it's a Vaishnava Sampradaya, right? Rudra Sampradaya is Vaishnava Sampradaya. So Lord Shiva is the originator of the Vaishnava Sampradaya. He himself is a great devotee and he himself is a great Mahajan. So there is a list of Dwadash Mahajans in Bhakti, and one of them is Lord Shiva, Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara Kapilo Manu, Prahlado Janako Bhishmo, Balirvaya Sakirvayam. So, Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhayam, Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta. So, Dharma Tattva are very Guhayam, very secret to understand, and one should follow the 12 great authorities in preaching God consciousness. So Lord Shiva, he originates Sampradaya that is called as Rudra Sampradaya. Currently, that Rudra Sampradaya is also known as Vishnu Swami Sampradaya or Vallabha Sampradaya. So, when you go to Vrindavan, there is Vallabha Baitak, Vallabhacharya Baitak. Vallabhacharya was contemporary of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And, there are many discussions between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Vallabhacharya as well. So, this is the Vallabha Sampradaya. And similarly, Brahma Sampradaya currently known as Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, so on and so forth. So this is the third thing about Lord Shiva, that he is the one of the Mahajan. Fourth thing is, although he appeared to preach the Mayavad philosophy, Lord Shiva, at the conclusion of his life as Shankaracharya, he preached Vaishnava philosophy. And he very strongly instructed his disciples, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati, Dukruna Karani. That simply the word grammar jugglery, Aham Brahmasmi, Tuham Brahmasmi, this and that, and the grammatical puzzles are not going to save you at the time of death. The simple course of action is better worship Lord Govinda, Bhaja Govindam. And the word Govinda to refer to the Supreme Lord is very important because that means the Lord whose senses are to be pleased. Right? Govindam, one who gives pleasure to the senses and whose senses are to be pleased. That means he is negating the Mayavad philosophy by using the word Bhaja Govindam. And Prabhupada says, this is be engaged in devotional service is the last instruction of Sripad Shankaracharya. Amazing life of Sripad Shankaracharya. Just 32 years. At the age of 8, he took sannyas. Right. Age 8, sannyas. 32, departed from this world. And he just walked to the Upper Badri. And within those 24 years, complete annihilation of Bhautavad. Right. Fascinating personality. And when he concluded his life, he is described about devotional service. Shankaracharya, when he visited Pandharpur Dham, wrote an extremely beautiful stotra, Bhaje Parabrahmalingam, Bhaje Pandurangam. And there also he used, specifically using the word Lingam, Govindam, indicating the variegatedness and the personality as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This Lord Shiva is always accompanied by Shaktaya Ghoraya, that extremely powerful and dangerous material energy always accompanies Lord Shiva. Especially Goddess Kali and Goddess Durga. And Prabhupada says there is a popular picture of Goddess Kali. She wears the garland of the skulls that is being beheaded by her, and there is a blood, oozing out everywhere. So, Goddess Kali represents the destruction in the material world, and specifically, Prabhupada says the wars are the symbolic representation of Goddess Kali. That is the nature of Goddess Kali. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralalaya, Sadhana Shakti Rekha, Chayi Vayasya Bhuvanani, Bibharti Durga, Ichha Nurupamapi Yasya Cheshtate Sa, Govindamadi Purusham, Tamaham Bhashami. So, Goddess Kali is like sister of Lord Krishna, And this Durga and Kali, they are the Chaya of the Supreme Lord. Why Chaya? Because just like when the hand moves, the shadow of the hand also moves. Similarly, the desires of the Supreme Lord towards the destructions are expressed through and conducted through the medium of Goddess Durga and Goddess Kali, and therefore they are called as Chaye Vayasya Bhuvanani Bibharti Durga. Asuras, they have very special attraction for Goddess Durga and Kali. Right. And they worship Goddess Durga, Goddess Kali, but sometimes when they become intolerable, then Goddess Durga herself will destroy these Asuras. Later in the fifth canto, we are going to see how Jadabharata was being attacked by the dacoits, who were devotees, who were actually worshippers of Goddess Kali. But Goddess Kali became so angry with these dacoits, her own devotees, that she killed all of them. So this instance will come later in Jadabharat pastime. Right. Due to their atheistic and demoniac character, they are reluctant to surrender to the Supreme Lord Krishna. And thus they will take shelter of something. And this is how Prabhupada quotes, the Mam Duskritino Mudha Prapadyante Naradhama Mayaya Avasarita Jnana Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. So this is Asuram Bhavam. Yeah, please continue.
Lord Shiva's duty
Lord
is
Shiva's
very dangerous.
duty is very dangerous because he has to employ the energy of Goddess Kali or Durga. In another popular picture, the Goddess Kali is sometimes seen standing on the prostrate body of Lord Shiva, which indicates that sometimes Lord Shiva has to fall down flat in order to stop Goddess Kali from killing the
ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ
Asuras.
ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವನ ಖರಾಬ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನ ನೋಡ್ರಿ.
Since Lord Shiva controls the great material energy, Goddess Durga, worshippers of Lord Shiva, attain very opulent positions within this material world. Under Lord Shiva's direction, a worshipper of Lord Shiva gets all kinds of material facilities. In contrast, a Vaishnav or worshipper of Lord Vishnu gradually becomes poorer in material positions because Lord Vishnu does not trick his devotees into becoming materially entangled by possessions. Lord Vishnu gives his devotees intelligence from within, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajtam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti tu. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Thus, Lord Vishnu gives intelligence to his devotee so that the devotee can make progress on the path back home, back to Godhead. Since a devotee has nothing to do with any kind of material possession, he does not come under the control of Goddess Kali or Goddess Durga. Lord Shiva is also in charge of the Tamoguna, or the mode of ignorance in this material world. His potency, the goddess Durga, is described as keeping all living entities in the darkness of ignorance. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Nitra Rupam Samstita. Both the Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are incarnations of Lord Vishnu. But Lord Brahma is in charge of the creation, whereas Lord Shiva is in charge of the destruction, which he carries out with the help of his material energy, goddess Kali or goddess Durga. Thus, in this verse, Lord Shiva is described as being accompanied by dangerous potencies, Satya Bhoreya, and that is the actual position of Lord Shiva.
Further, Srila Prabhupada explains that Goddess Kali sometimes, in her anger to destroy the demons, may just overdo. And Lord Shiva, Prabhupada says, Lord Shiva's duty is very dangerous because he has to employ the energy of Goddess Kali or Durga. Right? So sometimes, and when the things go out of control, then Lord Shiva himself has to prostrate at the feet of Goddess Kali, and Goddess Kali will continue her Tandav Nritya in a big way, and then she will realize that she is dancing on her own husband, and then she will sober it down, and then she will calm down. So, employing the dangerous potency is not very easy, right? Sometimes in the enthusiasm of Yukta Vairagya, we as a devotee, there is a chance that we may get carried over by employing the dangerous potency. But we are also affected. This is very important thing. We are also affected by that dangerous potency. So another thing is worshippers of Lord Shiva, they become very opulent in the material world. In Pune, we have one, Shiva Shambho Tires, and he was a, vada pav seller some 20 years back. Suddenly started worshipping Lord Shiva, gave the name of Lord Shiva to his vada pav, Shiva Shambho vada pav in market yard. And then, and then just made so much of material progress. The Shiva Shambho tires are all around in Pune nowadays. Right. So they will attain material prosperity very, very fast, but not the purification. Vis-a-vis, the devotees of Lord Vishnu, Prabhupada writes a dangerous statement here. Worshippers of Lord Shiva gets all kinds of material facilities. In contrast, a Vaishnava, a worshipper of Lord Vishnu, gradually becomes poorer in the material possessions because Lord Vishnu does not trick his devotees into becoming materially entangled by possessions. Right. So what this means is that devotee will also attain opulence, but devotee has to utilize opulence very carefully. If the opulence becomes the stumbling block in the advancement of a devotee, Lord Vishnu is kind enough and shrewd enough to take away all the opulence. Yasyaham anugranami harishe tad dhanam shanai. Right. So, and what is the classic example? In another sense, the classic example is Lord Shiva himself. Although the worshippers of Lord Shiva have great material opulence, Lord Shiva being Vaishnavanam Yathashambho is Aniketa. Right. He is just moving, wandering here and there. And although he controls entire material energy, he himself has no house to stay. And if you see, the personality of Lord Shiva, Aniketa, right? Then Prabhupada describes that how Lord Vishnu gives intelligence to his devotees so that the devotee can make progress on path back home, back to Godhead, and does not come under the control of Goddess Durga or Goddess Kali. So all these are, again, they are the potencies of the Supreme Lord. Chaye Vayasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga. Even Lord Shiva is potency, Lord Brahma is potency. In a way, they are incarnation. They are Gunavatar. They are the Gunavatar incarnations of the Lord. And Goddess Durga, she has the very tough task of keeping all the living entity in the darkness of ignorance. And the very famous verse, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Nidra Rupam Samsthita. What this Nidra is? Nidra is about the Nidra of their spiritual position. Jivera Swarupa hai Krishnera Nityadas. So one is kept in darkness about this position, and the material illusion perpetually continues. And this is how Lord Shiva employs his dangerous potencies, Shaktaya Ghoreya, and this is the actual position of Lord Shiva. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada. Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. प्रभुजी एक प्रश्न विचारू का?
Yes, Prabhu.
प्रभुजी आता like in our life we have this prarabdha, right? So by chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we can get rid of prarabdha. Is this correct?
Yeah, it is correct. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. To the degree one has intense devotional service, to that degree karma is destroyed.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. But there is no such rule that like we have to do 16 rounds only or 18 rounds or whatever number of rounds, right? I think that's also right. As long as we do it with wholeheartedly, that is more than enough. Is this correct?
Yeah, so I mean, there is no such rule that only after chanting 16 rounds the prarabdha. But the point here is why the number 16 is there? Because we want to get connected with the sampradaya. We want to eventually, not that we have to start tomorrow, but eventually, just like without graduation, without graduation also one can make a life, can do a job and everything else, and more so these days. But the point is that we want to, be the regular candidate, regular sadhaka in the realm of devotional service. So there is an indication of Saguru Mevabhigachet. One has to surrender to the spiritual master. And the surrender is exhibited in terms of chanting Hare Krishna, because that is the demand of the spiritual master.
And there was one more question.
Right.
आजच्या धकाधकीच्या जीवनामध्ये सतत ते माळा घेऊन करणं थोडं अवघड होतं. तर काउंटरवरती पण करू शकतो का आपण? कारण बसमध्ये ट्रॅव्हल करताना किंवा ट्रॅव्हलिंग करताना ते पण काउंट होतं का नाही होत?
ते पण काउंट होतात. सो सी चॅन्टिंग इज सच दॅट तत्रार्पिता नियमितः न स्मरणेन कालः. So, every mantra is counted, everything is counted. At the same time, we should aspire to chant. That is the apad dharma. That sometimes even we have to chant when driving or something like that, because the life is very hectic. All days are not same, right?
Correct.
Just like when we are driving a car, every time we are not driving on the fifth gear. Sometimes we are taking reverse, first gear, second gear, first gear again, stopping for some time. So similarly, because the life is very intense, sometimes we make our life intense. There is a chance that once a while, sometimes it's okay, but that should not be, default position, right? Right. So just like when we take our meals, आपण घरचं मील असतं ना, पोळी भाजी भात वरण व्यवस्थित खातो. Sometimes some achar is there, sometimes some the ice cream is there, but we cannot have an entire meal with achar and ice cream or something like that.
Ice cream.
So once a while, do the needful, move on. That is the point here. When the day is very tough, okay. But the point is that Prabhupada writes this: a Vaishnava, a sadhaka, has to adjust his life in such a way, progressively, eventually, with the due course of time. Okay, not that we are going to do anything tomorrow right away, but we should aspire. When we have studied limits, you said that something tends to, so like that we should aspire limits, moving towards a very settled spiritual life, right? And this happens progressively, when we also become senior in our position, in our company, at our job, at our business. We ourselves dictate terms. Somebody has a business. I always tell people, if you control your 24 hours, then what stops you, having quality time for chanting? Because it's you, right? It is not like a job you have to punch at 9 o'clock, otherwise half CL is gone or something like that. So when we control our life to whatever extent, we should. If you are working from home, then also there is a greater chance of chanting on the beads and right.
Yeah, beats is always there, no doubt about that. But I was trying to say, due to this time constraint, sometimes not all 16 hours
Yes.
perform on beats.
Sometimes, once a while, is
because traveling मध्ये एक तास जातो ना प्रभूजी, त्यामुळे त्या टाइम मध्ये म्हणून
there are many devotees traveling मध्येही beads वर जप करतात.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so while traveling also, sometimes people will, to begin with, people will laugh for a while. Then people get tired. They will be busy with their mobile and everything, and we can be busy with our chanting.
मी पण तेच करतो, फक्त मी काउंटर करतो.
Nice. Yeah, keep up. Please keep up.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare